Hello everyone, my name is Paul. I work for a company in Cape Town called Micrographics. We are an Autodesk partner, and today I'd like to show you on Civil 3D how we manage the detail level of our surfaces. So many of you will know that we can create surfaces. We right click to create a surface, and then we would add to that definition. Well, when you create that surface, what is actually happening? So let's have a look at the settings. We'll investigate this in a later blog, but essentially, for those of you that know Civil 3D, there's a few levels of settings that you can look at. There's the drawing level, and in the drawing level, under the ambient settings, you won't find these surface settings defaults in there. It's actually on the object level. This is what we call the object level. If we edit those feature settings on the object, on surfaces, right, then you will see that there's a list of properties that we can apply, and there's a lot that goes on in here, but essentially for this blog here, we just want to have a look at the surface defaults. And the default setting for the surface, if you look at the second item over there, is default reduced level of detail, yes or no. Currently it's set to no, default reduced level of detail. So in other words, is it automatically going to try and reduce the level of detail on your surface? And the answer is no. And if we let that go and just leave it like that, no, right, so that it's not locked, and we say okay. Now if I create a new surface, let's have a look at the prospector. Create a new surface. I'm just going to take the defaults and say alright, then have a look at the surface. It's got a white pentagonal shape that looks a bit like a pyramid, and it's got a little triangle in every icon over there if your eyes are good enough to see that. But it's a white pentagonal shape. Alright, I'm going to delete that now. Deleting that circle. Now have a look at the surface. If we edit the feature settings, and then under the surface defaults, we'll change this reduced area of level of detail to yes, and apply and OK. Now if you go back to the prospector and we create that surface and just take the default, now we'll see that it's blue. Alright, so that blue means, and now you can see it's a pentagonal shape, and I don't know if your eyes are good enough, but I'll tell you what, if I hover over that, it should show to us there's a little pentagonal shape, and it's only got 3 triangles. It's only got 3 triangles. So in other words, it is a reduced level of surface. Right, so this is the default behavior were you to create a new setting, a new surface. That's the feature settings. Right. Then you've also got the command settings after that. So if you create surface, edit the command settings over there, then you can see that you've got your default. Do you have surface defaults here? There's your surface defaults coming through. And now also you've got the reduced level of detail. So if you had locked that in the object level surface default settings, and you had locked this, the result of that was within your command level on creating a surface that would then be grayed out because it's getting enforced. You can see it's locked, and there you can see what it is. Alright, so that's just what the lock means. That's when you have a look at the object level. Let's take that off. Surface defaults. Let's take that off. Alright, so there you can see how obviously when we right click and we're saying create surface, that's the command level that we are executing. Right. Now these surfaces over here, I have created some folder structures for them. You can see most of them are blue, which means that they are getting automatically reduced in detail. Let's just have a quick look there again, just make sure that we've got the right setting for our drawing. I don't want to create complex surfaces unless, well, it is creating a complex surface, just how it displays it to you. But I would like to have that on by default. Now, on the surface collection in the prospector, you can set all the surfaces in one go by right-clicking and then saying, on the surfaces, you can see reduced level of detail. If we do that, boom, and everything is set to blue. And if we take that on, reduced level of detail, let's just expand these so we can see them. Here we are. There's the high level of detail. Alright, and then you can see everything's turned clear. And then if we right click on surfaces and say reduce level of detail, then they should all go blue. There we go. Alright, so you can see there's quite a few things going on. One is there's nothing on the drawing level for the defaults for the surfaces. On the object level, we've got settings. On the command level, with create surface, we've got settings. And then on the prospector, we've got the ability to set those settings, reduced level of detail, high level of detail on the surfaces. And we've got an override on individual surfaces by accepting to have the surface level of detail or not. So you might ask, great, what is this for? And let's have a look at that. So this surface over here, let's get rid of surface 10. We don't need that. It's empty anyway. And let's have a look at the existing ground surface data that we've got over here. I've called it SF_GS. It's this, well, let's select it from within the browser so you can see it is that one. Select it. And I'm going to temporarily just isolate that surface. So we're only viewing the surface within our drawing. Just waiting for the computer to isolate it for us. It shouldn't take long. There we are. Right. Now, I don't know if you'll see this very clearly, but as we zoom into the surface, you'll see that it's got quite a triangle, and as we zoom out, eventually it will almost look as if the surface glitches. There we go. And now there's more triangles. So as we zoom out, the surface loses its definition. You can see there's some triangles, and we zoom out a bit more. So maybe just focus on one part of the triangle. If we look at what can we ever look at over here? Over there, you can see there's a type of a block with 4 triangles in it. And if we zoom out, then at some other point, there we go. Now there's only 2 of them. I know it's a bit difficult to see, but you should be able to see that on your own computer. And that then just reduces the level of detail that you see in that surface. It allows your computer to navigate the surfaces much easily or more easily, and hopefully that will help you in future. Setting the defaults that when you create a surface on the command level, on the object level, then you'll create it like this by default, and then if you need to change it later, either all the surfaces or some of the surfaces, you'll be able to do those overrides for yourself. So until next time, enjoy Civil 3D, and let us know if you need any assistance.